Absolute Wonder Woman issue 15, Kelly Thompson writing with Hayden Sherman on the art. So this is our first crossover issue between two Absolute books, with Wonder Woman going to Gotham to get Batman's help investigating some murders there, because they've got Hecate symbols at the crime scenes, and that's taken an interest for her, obviously. I guess this was a very good issue. I really liked the first interactions between the two characters. I like, where it went with expanding the Wonder Woman lore a little bit with what the bad guys are trying to do here. The only weird thing for me is that it's not part 1 of 2, but we are crossing them over again in the next Absolute Batman issue, and I thought it was really strange how at the end of this issue they say goodbye, like, oh, we've had our first meeting, we'll meet again soon. And I'm like, yeah, the next issue of Batman. I was expecting it to be the first half of a 2-parter, because I knew that both, this issue and the next Batman issue were both crossover issues, but they're both like standalone crossover issues, which is that's still a little bit strange to me. But that aside, I really like the issue. Everything was good in it.
Yeah. This is a Absolute Wonder Woman featuring Absolute Batman. It's not like a crossover. Like, I don't feel like there's a unifying story.
Yeah, I just mean crossover. In the sense of the characters, but
so, but yeah, it's still very good, and Hayden Sherman getting to draw Absolute Batman. I like to see, because we've only had a couple artists that have done Absolute Batman at this point, so it's cool to see what Sherman does. And in fact, this week, when you count the Superman tie-in to KO, he got to draw, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman all in 1 week, which is pretty cool, But yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance he probably drew them like a month apart, but yeah. In terms of release, So the issue also starts with Kale. Kale's on the phone to someone talking about Wonder Woman, and she actually turns out to be behind what the villains are doing. And it's revealed at the end of the conversation that she's talking to Grimm, which of course is, as we have just recently discovered, is the name of the Joker in this world.
Which I kind of forgot, because I was like, who the hell's Grimm? I know that name. And then it clicked again. Oh, that's Absolute Joker.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. We're crossing over the heroes, so the villains are secretly talking to each other.
And we saw the villains crossover before even the heroes with that Absolute Evil.
Yeah, they're already connected.
So it's good to see that stuff kind of come back around, and it's really making Kale seem like a big deal in a way that she doesn't in the regular universe, where she just kind of feels like one of Wonder Woman's enemies. Nothing like she's an arch nemesis or whatever. But here it definitely feels like she's a bigger threat to the whole shebang, than normally, which is real cool.
Yeah, she feels bigger in the shared world stage. I think she feels like a big deal in Wonder Woman when she's written correctly, but I don't think she feels like she's part, like, because if you're to put, like, say, I guess you just say it's the Injustice League or the Legion of Doom, but if you were to put, say, like, all the arch nemesis together into a team, which is what that typically more or less is, Kale is never the Wonder Woman representative. It's always Cheetah. Maybe you'd get like Ares, perhaps, on the occasion.
Sometimes Dr. Psycho, because he fits that.
Yeah, but never Kale. And I feel like here they've made a conscious effort to say, no, Kale is the big, like, sort of main human baddie of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I like what Kelly Thompson's done by making her this figure of science, right? Because what we've seen with her project, like, she does tap into magic, but she definitely seems more like a science-based to counter Diana's more magical side here.
And what's going on with her hand, Matt? What's up with the hand?
I don't know. It's something. It looks Gollum-esque, and in that, like, she got corrupted by something,
She got her hand caught in the cookie jar somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe. It has been turned into this black and blue veins kind of thing. Anyway.
It almost looked like electrical type deal when we get to it, so.
A little bit, yeah. I could see that. So Diana goes to Gotham and she makes a bat signal out of magic, which is interesting in the context of this because Batman's not really done that. Like, he's not got a signal yet in this world. So this is like almost like might even like give him the idea of having a signal in the sky because it's not established here. And it's funny because not to talk about it yet, but like Green Lantern kind of does this same thing and Green Lantern this week to
Yep.
signal Batman. And it's fine because it's like, yeah, like that's literally how Batman is called in the city by people. It's kind of his gimmick. But here it's interesting because it's not been established yet.
Yeah, and it's his big axe symbol too. So it's this big ominous thing hanging over the city, which I do like. And when we get introduced to Batman on, looking into it, he's hanging upside down like a bat, which I think was a fun little art piece.
And she's like, oh, like I, expected you to be quiet, but I don't think there's like a word to describe like, how good you are at this.
Especially considering your size, because don't forget, he's an absolute tank of a human.
Yeah,
So...
and he's like, is this a magic thing? And he's like, define magic, and she's like, well, it's advanced chemistry with some unknown elements thrown in, and so on.
Unusual resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some really nice exchanges because Batman is not super confrontational with her. He's kind of understanding of like, okay, he doesn't come ready to pick a fight. Like sometimes the first Batman interaction can be with another hero. But there's a really nice exchange here where she says, you hurl yourself from skyscrapers with no fear, but you can't fly. How did you learn to do that? And he just says necessity, to which she responds, a good answer. I'm like, these two are getting along swimmingly.
Yeah?
Absolutely swimmingly. So, so there's not talk about the crime scenes and, these murders that are taking place and all the rest of it. But, and even to talk about some more character stuff, this idea of like, he keeps his identity secret, keeps in the shadows and all that. And she basically says, oh, that bell is rung for me. Like the people know who I am. They know who my friends are. I can't really undo that. And Batman says, well, if you could, would you? And she says, no, I don't think I would, because ultimately I want to show people who I am to try and inspire them. That's kind of more her way versus Batman's way, where the fear and the shadows is kind of a big part of what he does. So
it might be the absolute universe, but that's still very much Wonder Woman and Batman.
It is.
Those are the things that make them.
That is the big thing here. Is like, we've been getting kind of there a bit more in all of these Absolute books. I think Wonder Woman was probably the one that felt the most Wonder Woman-y right from the get-go in a lot of ways. I think Superman and Batman though have started to feel more and more like Batman and Superman the more we've went on in their books.
Yeah.
And including that here as well, because he feels very Batman, and a lot of his, the way he talks about magic, the way he's skeptical about certain things, but kind of, and she gives him like a Hecate symbol that's like, hey, if you touch that with your bare skin and ask for me, say my name, Diana of the Wild Isles, I will be called to you as long as I'm on this plane of existence. And he's like, okay, but it's actually set up for later. This has got a really nice payoff later that she's giving her, because I thought this was going to just disappear and it'll be something that's used a year from now, like in another book. But no, this is something that comes up by the end of the issue.
Yeah. Well, and she calls it it's her twist on the Hikatia, which was a Wonder Woman story that involved Batman. Yeah, there you go.
Or Haikisha, maybe. But
so I thought that was yes. Yeah. But however you pronounce it, I thought that was a nice callback. I didn't expect it to pay off so soon, like Pete said. Like I was like, oh, that's cool. They're drawing on like, the other universe, that this is where they met.
I think this is there's a good plot in this issue, because once they get to the crime scene and there's two Hecate symbols, Diana immediately is like, this isn't really making sense. Like, Hecate is all about threes, so you'd have three symbols if anything. You should have at least three candles. You should have this, and it's not quite added up. I actually like the reveal of what this was. Is that this wasn't about Hecate? It was just meant to look like Hecate to draw her in, because the actual goal was to get her inside a circle, which she ends up kind of because they go and investigate this tower on the other side of the woods or whatever, and that's where these druid-looking people are. But it's witchcraft, and they've collected a bunch of organs from all these people they've killed. And Diana sort of realizes, oh, this is witchcraft. They're trying to do a spell here to make a golem, or a figure they can control, is basically how you describe that. But the twist, when they get to it, is that, and this is Veronica Cale's doing, is that because Diana is known to be the mythical kid who was born from clay, that kind of makes her a golem herself. She's kind of created from magic. So this is actually about controlling her. So the issue turns into, oh, this dark magic these guys are doing, which required like some of her own hair. They got that somehow, but they've also got all these organs from all these dead people. So it took a lot of effort. I like that it takes a lot of effort, because you can't just have them doing this every week to Diana, you know, like, and now she's aware that it's a possibility. She can be a bit more careful with certain things.
Yeah. She can't be as trusting, right? She's left herself out there. But no, it goes back to what she said with its like chemistry with unusual resources, right? So the fact, like, all you need to know is the formula, right? And however Kale came across this ritual, you know what I mean? And so it leaves her open. So she got to be a little bit more careful, almost having to learn from Batman there, right? Of keeping your sources close and whatever.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, they go investigate this place, the spooky clock tower at the edge of the woods, all that kind of thing, and they go in. She's like, hey, don't cross this circle of salt, but they're kind of like drawn in magically, like they get sort of tripped into it.
Well, yeah, the way that I read that is that Bruce kept going because he's a little bit more foolhardy, right? Because he's not our typical Bruce. And she tries to stop it. All the momentum kind of carries him forward into it with a little help of the magic pushing them along.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it felt like a big oopsie on Bruce's part.
No, it felt like to me like she was stopping him, but the red mist kind of pulled him into it. I don't know, maybe that's just the way I read it, but I guess it could be interpreted either way. But either way, she's in the circle now, and this starts to take her over, and she realizes it's taking her over, so she's like, oh, I have to give Batman a fighting chance, because like the whole idea here is that they would take her over and she would kill Batman for Joker's sake. So she basically gets rid of her magic arm, so she's only got one arm, to give Bruce like, hey, okay, I'm stronger, I've got powers. This gives him a better chance of like defending himself. But yeah, we see her kind of go into this kind of like, you know, zombie golem mode, where she's got like, you know, the black lines coming from her eyes, and she just turns into a killing Terminator machine. She steals Batman's axe. We get a whole fight sequence with the funky layouts that Sherman loves to do.
So she has the big Buster sword, and now she's using the bat axe. And I'm just like, how does Wonder Woman keep being so cool?
Yeah, she doesn't dual wield them though. Not that she can, because she's only got one arm in the moment. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's what we need. Yeah. We need her dual wielding the Buster sword and the bat axe.
When that does happen, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be epic.
But it won't be like this. It'll be like a big pivotal moment when Batman throws it to her, like, here, Diana. Yeah. And, you know, like she catches it, and it's like, you know. It's not Mjolnir, but I still, for some reason, I still imagine a lightning strike happening just as she catches it.
No, it is. It definitely feels like that. But yeah, she looks so, even just with the one arm, she's so formidable. Like, she's literally fighting with an arm behind her back and has Batman on the, you know, on the ropes. Yeah, which makes, you know, I like that this sells the power levels here, where it's like, obviously he's very capable, but she is, you know, very super powered. So obviously on a one-on-one fight, he's not going to be able to win. So she's like, oh, I'll take away this arm while I've got a little bit of coherence to give him a fighting chance. And then obviously he ends up, you know, getting out of this by pulling out the Hecate symbol that she gave him, asking for Diana, and that brings her back to who she is, and that's, you know, that basically saves the day. And she's like, hey, yeah, they had my hair and my DNA to, like, you know, pull this spell off. I need to be more careful of this. And the place is rigged to blow, so, you know, Batman grabs her and they jump out, and all the rest of it. So it's not like a super Christmassy issue, but like it does start snowing at the end, and Diana's like, whoa, is this snow? And he's like, you've never seen snow before? And she's like, well, I've seen it in, like, you know, photographs and stuff, but I've never felt it, and like the weird quiet that comes with it. You know, like they're talking a little bit. There's a couple of really nice things here. You know, one is like, hey, we should probably go meet that other one, like, because there's others like us. And Batman's like, you mean that Superman fellow I've been hearing about? And she's like, and I think there's others too. So they do acknowledge, yeah, it's not just the Trinity. There's a couple other ones. But she's like, yeah, we should probably, you know, if we're going to save this world from all the things that are happening, we probably need to meet each other. So it sets up that, which is nice. And they do a little thing here where the layout actually makes like a Superman emblem shape in the panels. I'm sure you noticed that. Yeah. Yep, I loved it.
Yeah, and then the other thing is you know, obviously at the start of the issue when they introduced each other, she's like, I'm Diana, who are you? And he's like, I'm Batman. At the end here, she's like, hey, maybe you'll feel comfortable telling me your name. And he's like, I'm sure you've already figured it out because you're, you know, pretty smart and got superpowers. And she's like,
yeah.
And she says, I have, but, you know, that's for you to say, not for me to take. And he actually says, "Go on, say it. I want to hear." Like he wants to hear it from her. So she says, "Yeah, you know, hey Bruce, happy holidays. Off I go." So.
Yeah, well, that's what she says. Bruce, don't you think we should make friends with Superman too? We're going to need a lot of friends. So I also like that this plays like, hey, we're friends now. You know, I'll call you this. I'm comfortable.
And it makes sense that Deanne is the one that says that, because she's the one who does make friends immediately with people. Like, that's something she's been doing since issue 1 with Barbara Ann, with Steve, with whoever.
Yep. And that's her upbringing too, with saving all the little creatures, right, on the Hell Island. You know, as she collects them. And so, yeah, I like that keeps going here. And we even get Batman smiling at the end, because that's the effect that Diana of the Wild Isle has on people.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was very pleasant. I think as a first kind of tease to them having a working relationship. And then obviously at some point, I assume we'll get, you know, I don't know who's going to meet Superman first between them, but, you know, that'll come down the line, presumably. I have no doubt. Or maybe they'll do something else there. Maybe they'll have like Superman meet Green Lantern first or something. I don't know, just to shake it up and do something else. But sweet. I like that it wasn't a Christmas issue, but the snow at the end and them just saying Happy Holidays was a nice little like, oh, okay, this fits into the season a little bit, even if it's not going to focus on that. So that's cool too. I mean, I thought this was a great issue. It nailed kind of. It did the first meeting between these two characters in a way that felt true to what we think of these characters as traditionally, but with a couple of shake-ups where, you know, we're not going through maybe some of the same growing pains that they sometimes have. But we still got to see them fight, but it wasn't we have to fight first before we'll calm down and be friends. Like, it was you know, more of a specific plot that led to that, which enhanced kind of what the villains are up to. It was a nice little twist when we got to that point, so...
Yeah, and I'm looking at the page with Kale in her hand, in the way that she's talking, and she tells Grimm, because he goes, well, we'll have more chances, we'll make them, and she goes, that's what I want to hear. They can simply not continue to gather disciples. It'll tip us over, I promise you. So just the idea that even Kale knows, the more these characters get together, the worse it's going to be for them. The
more following they get, the more people they inspire, all that. Because the thing is the issue starts with her complaining that there's Wonder Woman merch and Batman merch that can be purchased now.
there's a chess set, and then there's a stuffed Diana in the garbage can, you know, that she has there, you know, and then the two chess pieces are Diana and Bruce, in their absolute forms. So, yeah, just the whole idea that. They're being the heroes that we know they can be, right? They are inspiring, and they are, you know, getting together. We can't let them do that, you know? Yeah,
they're going to get too powerful.
As of right now, the bad guys have, they have the edge because they're all working together, right? Like Joker and Kale are already talking here.
Yeah, they're all already talking. I think this idea of them realizing the threat that the hope of having these heroes around will cause against their agendas is a very interesting tactic to take, because it's so organized compared to, you know, typically what you have with the multiple villains. And obviously you couldn't do this with the traditional versions, because, you know, traditional Joker is not going to play well with others this way, but this version can, because this version is very different. This is a very cold and maniacal planning type character. So
this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is very good. Love the twist, like the horror movie vibes of it almost, when they were finding like the cultists doing the ritual, and all that was good fun. So Matt, what are you giving Absolute Wonder Woman 15?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
I'm gonna go 9. Really liked it.
Okay.
Really liked it.